Liwei didn't hesitate. The moment he noticed Kai standing a little too close to Amara, he crossed the distance between them and slipped his hand around hers, his grip firm and natural, as though it had always belonged there. His attention settled fully on her as he asked if she was done talking to Momo. Amara nodded with a small smile. He murmured that they should head out if she was finished, then stepped closer, his thumb brushing gently across her lips. His gaze lowered slightly as he mentioned that her lip gloss had smudged. Amara instinctively tried to fix it herself, but Liwei caught her wrist lightly and told her he would handle it. Before she could react, he drew her in and kissed her. Slow, intentional, possessive, not just affection, a statement. Kai stood right there, forced to watch every second of it. When Liwei finally pulled back, his eyes lingered on hers, calm and warm, as he assured her that it was fine now. His fingers intertwined with hers again, holding on a little tighter than necessary, and only then did he spare Kai a brief glance. Quiet, unreadable, but sharp enough to cut. Then he led Amara away without another word. Behind them, Kai let out a small laugh under his breath, the realization settling in instantly. Liwei hadn't fixed her lip gloss. He had been marking territory. Liwei and Amara pulled over at the estate, and instead of stopping at the usual parking space, Liwei drove deeper, past the familiar paths and lights, toward the quieter parts where the trees grew thicker and the world felt farther away. He finally brought the car to a stop where there was nothing but nature surrounding them. They stepped out together. Amara turned slowly, taking everything in, asking how big the place actually was. Liwei let out a soft laugh, admitting he wasn't entirely sure himself. Even he hadn't explored all of it yet. He took her hand and told her to come with him. The wine cellar greeted them like something out of a dream. Rows upon rows of bottles lined the walls from floor to ceiling, glass catching the warm lights overhead, the air cool and rich with the faint scent of aged wine. Amara paused, eyes widening slightly as she looked around in quiet awe. Liwei reminded her of the promise he had made that they would drink together when they got home. Then leaned closer and told her to pick any wine she liked. She shook her head, smiling, admitting she wasn't good with wines and that he should choose instead. So he did. He walked slowly along the shelves, scanning labels one by one before finally selecting a bottle. When he turned back, his expression had softened. He stated that it had been his mother's favorite. He figured they could share it tonight. They carried it outside and walked deeper into the estate. A small picnic setup waited for them beneath the open sky, already prepared. Soft blankets, low table, glasses, everything arranged carefully as though he had planned it long ago. Amara stopped in her tracks, a wide smile spreading across her face. Liwei explained that he had arranged it earlier, wanting their celebration to be private, just the two of them, away from everyone else, just husband and wife. They settled down together, the night quiet around them, the moon bright overhead, the breeze cool against their skin. They poured the wine and sipped slowly, or at least Liwei did. Amara, on the other hand, gulped hers like juice. He watched her with quiet amusement before leaning closer, a faint laugh escaping as he pointed out that the way she was drinking made it obvious she had no idea what red wine actually did to women. She looked at him curiously and asked what he meant. He only smiled and told her she would find out soon enough. Minutes passed. Liwei leaned back slightly, staring up at the moon, relaxed for once, the tension that had followed him for years finally gone. Amara found herself staring at him instead, really staring. At his shoulders, his arms, the veins along his hands, the quiet strength in the way he simply existed. He looked less like a man and more like something carved from marble. Perfect. Before she could stop herself, the words slipped out, soft and dazed, murmuring that her husband was unfairly handsome, like a sculpture, like she could just eat him. Liwei chuckled without even looking at her, already knowing. The wine had started working. Without warning, she climbed onto him, catching him off guard. Their faces ended up inches apart. He looked at her, faint amusement flickering across his face as her fingers gripped his shirt. She leaned in closer and told him to take it off. Liwei looked down at Amara as she grabbed his shirt with both hands, her fingers clumsy and impatient, trying to pull it over his head like a stubborn child. He caught her wrists gently before she could succeed. His hands were warm around hers. He lowered them slowly and looked at her, his voice calm, steady, telling her that she was drunk and that she should never have drunk that much, especially knowing she was a lightweight who could not hold her liquor. Her eyes were glassy, unfocused, but stubborn. Amara suddenly pushed herself to her feet. The world tilted. She swayed, nearly fell. Liwei stayed seated, leaning forward, watching her with quiet amusement spreading across his face. There was something dangerously soft in his gaze, something that only appeared when she was like this, when she was his. She pointed at him and called him Wei. The name made him pause. His expression shifted almost invisibly. He told her that was not his name, but Amara only laughed, the sound airy and careless, cheeks flushed pink from the alcohol. She stared at him like he was the funniest thing in the world, then called him Babe, then Sir Babe, dragging the words teasingly, saying she wanted to dance for him. Liwei's brows furrowed, but the corner of his lips twitched. He told her to go ahead and reminded her to watch her steps so she would not fall. She nodded seriously, as if he had just given her the most important task of her life. Then she started dancing. If it could even be called dancing. Her steps were offbeat. Her arms moved without rhythm. She spun too fast, nearly tripped over nothing, caught herself, then continued proudly like a performer on stage, completely shameless. Completely adorable. Liwei leaned back, laughter escaping before he could stop it. He lifted his phone, started recording. Every spin, every stumble, every dramatic pose she thought looked elegant. He did not miss a single second. And for once, the cold, distant Liwei laughed freely. Morning light slipped quietly through the curtains. Soft, golden, gentle. Amara's eyes fluttered open, her head throbbed, her throat felt dry. Through the blur of sleep, she saw Liwei's reflection in the mirror, already dressed, adjusting his cuffs, fixing his collar, every movement neat and precise like always. So composed, so put together. He noticed her staring and turned, asking her how she was feeling. His voice was softer than usual. He walked over and handed her a mug, telling her to drink the concoction because it was for her hangover. Warm steam curled between them. She took slow sips, wincing at the taste. Liwei watched her struggle and laughed quietly, shaking his head, telling her she should never drink again and reminding her that she had insisted on dancing the whole night. The memory hit her like lightning. Her ears burned. She looked away and asked why he had not stopped her. Liwei only chuckled. Then he took out his cell phone and pressed play. The room filled with the sound of her own chaotic dancing, spinning, wobbling, talking nonsense. His laughter echoed. Her soul nearly left her body. She shot out of bed instantly and rushed toward him, trying to snatch the phone, telling him to delete them because the videos were embarrassing. But Liwei simply raised his arm higher. Calm. Effortless, untouchable. No matter how much she jumped, she could not reach. He told her they were going to remain on his cell phone forever. She called him Babe desperately, still trying to grab it. He laughed, bright, boyish, rare, and told her he was going to play the videos on their wedding day. Her eyes widened in horror. Before she could attack him again, he dashed out. Amara chased after him. Their footsteps echoed loudly through the corridors. He ran, actually ran, laughing. Not the cold CEO, not the distant man everyone feared, just liwei, playful, teasing, alive. Workers peeked from corners, stunned at the sight. They had never seen him like this before, never seen him smile that freely. He slipped into his car and drove off quickly, a laugh escaping him as he watched her through the rear-view mirror, still standing there, frustrated and pouting. But as the car disappeared, her anger melted. Her lips curved into a small, quiet smile. So this was the side his friends always talked about. The playful boy he used to be. The real him. And seeing it come back felt warmer than the morning sun. A maid approached gently and asked what she would like for breakfast. Amara smiled and told her not to worry, because she would eat at the school cafeteria. Then she walked back inside, lighter somehow. Meanwhile, liwei's car rolled to a stop in front of East Gate Group. He noticed them immediately. Journalists, dozens, crowding the entrance like vultures, waiting. He stayed inside the car for a moment, fingers tightening around the steering wheel. A slow breath in, then out. His face returned to its usual cold composure. The door opened. The moment his shoes touched the ground, chaos erupted. Cameras flashed violently in his face. Questions overlapped. Voices shouting if it was true he was organizing the biggest fashion show, saying designers from different regions had been seen arriving in Shanghai, asking if the rumors were real. Normally, he would walk past without a word, but today, he stopped, turned, faced them. The crowd went quiet, because liwei never addressed the media. Never. Yet here he was. Calm, dominant, unbothered. He confirmed it was true and told them it was a private runway show, personally organized for his wife to choose the wedding gown design she liked the most. Silence, then sharp gasps. Wife. The word exploded through the crowd. Cameras flashed faster. Whispers spread like wildfire. But liwei simply adjusted his sleeve and walked past them, leaving shock trailing behind him like smoke. The media did not let him leave so easily. Voices rose over one another, cameras pushing closer, microphones nearly touching his suit as they asked if he was married, asking who the lucky lady was, asking if the rumors were really true. Liwei stopped walking. He did not look irritated. He did not rush. He simply turned, calm and composed, his presence alone quieting the noise. He confirmed that he was indeed married. The words fell heavily. Then he added that they would have to see her on the wedding day, and that, of course, the media would be invited. A small, controlled smile touched his lips. Before they could ask another question, he immediately walked inside, long strides unhurried, leaving them standing there. Behind him, murmurs spread. Shock was palpable on their faces. The most eligible bachelor in China. Finally off the market. And no one knew who the wife was. Curiosity spiked like wildfire. Amara made her way through the campus corridors, the warm sunlight brushing on her skin. Something felt different. Everywhere she looked, people were whispering. Groups gathered in corners, phones out, screens glowing. She caught fragments of conversations as she passed. Liwei has a wife. He is getting married. Did you see the news? Her steps slowed, her brows furrowed. How did they know? Before she could think further, Momo rushed toward her, almost running, her expression bursting with excitement. She asked her if she had seen the trending news. Amara shook her head. Momo immediately shoved her phone forward. On the screen was liwei's video, trending, articles everywhere, clips of him speaking to the press, headlines questioning who the lucky woman was. Amara stared at it, her heart skipping, quietly murmuring why liwei would do that. Momo looked at her like it was obvious and told her he did the right thing, that he was finally going public with her. She kept talking, words tumbling over each other, saying everyone was looking forward to the wedding and that people were already calling it the wedding of the century. She jumped up and down in excitement like she was the one getting married. She said they needed to start planning her bachelorette party as soon as possible and that she was going to make it unforgettable. She added that it should be a girls' getaway, no males, just them, making sure they had as much fun as possible. Amara simply watched her. Watched the way her eyes sparkled, the way she talked too fast, the way she looked so genuinely happy. A soft smile tugged at her lips. She had missed this, missed her noise, missed her chaos, missed her. Momo grabbed her hands and leaned closer, telling her she should ask Liwei to book them a getaway for the party. Amara nodded with a small smile and told her she would ask him when she got home. Momo immediately hooked their arms together and dragged her down the hallway, still rambling about wedding plans, decorations, dresses, laughing non-stop about how happy she was for her. Their voices slowly faded down the corridor. Meanwhile, Liwei sat alone in his office. The room was quiet. Sunlight filtered through the tall windows. His phone rested in his hand. On the screen, Amara spun clumsily, nearly falling, laughing at nothing. He replayed the video. Then another. Then another. A soft laugh escaped him. She looked so carefree, so unguarded, so different from the composed girl everyone else saw. Every time she drank, she became brighter, funnier, more alive. His eyes softened without him realizing. The door suddenly opened. Instinctively, he locked his phone and put it away. His expression returned to cold neutrality. Fang had walked in. Liwei looked at him and told him he had called him over because there was something they needed to discuss. Fang laughed lightly, asking if he was finally handing over East Gate Group to the rightful owners. Liwei's gaze sharpened instantly, cold, cutting. He asked him when he planned to wake up from being delusional. He leaned forward slightly and stated that Fang should know by now that East Gate Group belonged to the Li family. He added that Fang himself was a Li, and because of that, he was willing to give him a second chance. He explained that he would keep promoting him bit by bit, and that every promotion would depend on how hard he worked, adding that he would be closely monitored. Liwei glanced down at the file, then back at him, telling him that for now he would be his assistant, and that they would start from there. Fang stared at him, then laughed, asking if he was mocking him, saying that being his assistant was the same as being his servant, someone who had to jump whenever he said so. Liwei's expression did not change. He told him that if he did not want it, he might as well forget about East Gate Group entirely, that he was doing him a favor. He added that if it were anyone else, he would have left him stuck in operations and packaging forever, yet he was still offering him a second chance. Fang stepped closer, glaring, asking him who he thought he was, saying he acted like a god who could control people however he pleased. Liwei remained unfazed. He simply asked him if he was taking the offer or not, adding that if he did not want it, he would give it to someone else, because it was not like he needed him. Silence stretched. Fang faltered. Then he grabbed the offer letter from the table. He looked at Liwei and told him he would prove to everyone that he was not as righteous as he claimed, that he was just a criminal hiding behind a pretty boy face. With that, he turned and bolted for the door. Before he could step out, Liwei calmly called out to him and told him to bring him coffee. Fang froze. His jaw tightened. His hands clenched. Then he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. The sound echoed through the office. Liwei simply leaned back in his chair, expression unreadable, as if nothing had happened at all. Later that evening, Kai made his way back home. The house was quiet, lights low, the air still. The moment he stepped inside, he saw Ming already sitting in the living room, casually leaning back as if he had been waiting for a while. Kai paused at the doorway and looked at him, loosening his shirt as he remarked that he had thought now that Ming was dating, he would always be occupied, yet somehow he seemed to have a lot of free time on his hands. Ming lifted his head and looked at him, saying he actually wanted to talk to him about something. Kai walked over and took a seat across from him, leaning back lazily, waiting. Ming suddenly smiled, excitement radiating across his face, and said he had been thinking they should organize a surprise bachelor party for Liwei. Kai stared at him for a second, then laughed softly. He told him that the way he was so excited about this wedding, it was almost like he was the one getting married. Ming's smile only widened. He said he was just very happy for Liwei, happy to see him stepping into a new chapter of his life, adding that Liwei had been through a lot, and he just wanted to see him happy for once. Then he leaned closer, eyes narrowing playfully as if studying Kai's face, and asked him if he was jealous or something. Kai immediately shook his head, denying it, saying he had absolutely no reason to be jealous. But Ming kept staring at him. He reminded him that when they were young, Kai used to brag that he would be the first one to get married. Maybe he was jealous that it was Liwei instead. Plus, now he was the only single one while both of them already had women in their lives. Kai fell silent. Then he laughed, a carefree, dismissive laugh. He told him he did not care about any of that, and that he was not eager to date or get married, repeating that he truly had no reason to be jealous. Changing the topic, he asked what Ming had in mind for the bachelor party. Ming smiled and said he would send him the details later. Kai sighed, shaking his head, telling him he did not have to come all the way here when he could have just texted or called. Then he leaned forward, laughing mischievously, asking if he was avoiding Momo or if she was not giving him some sugar. A pillow flew straight into Kai's face. Ming told him to stop talking nonsense. Kai only laughed harder, teasing him again, asking if maybe he did not even know how to give a lady some sugar. Another pillow hit him. Ming stood up annoyed, saying he was leaving. But just as he reached the door, he paused. His expression changed, more serious. He turned and told Kai that May and James's daughter was now conscious. Kai straightened immediately, surprise flashing across his face. He asked if she had said anything and how she was doing. Ming shook his head and said it seemed like she was traumatized. Kai's expression softened. He said she must have gone through a lot, adding quietly that if she were his sister, he would teach the people who hurt her a lesson they would never forget. Then he smiled again, slinging an arm around Ming's shoulders, saying he would walk him out and continue educating him about women and sugar. They both laughed as they headed outside together. From the corner of the hallway, Kai's mother had been listening. Her fingers tightened around her teacup, so tight it looked like it might crack. Her nails dug into the porcelain as anger burned in her eyes. Her voice was barely a whisper, but filled with venom as she muttered that she would not let that bastard child live, that she could not be alive. Meanwhile, Liwei and Amara sat on the couch, cuddled together. The television played softly in the background, light flickering across the room. Peaceful. Warm. Liwei reached up and touched her face gently, brushing his thumb along her cheek as he told her he could not believe that in just a few weeks she would be walking down the aisle and that he would finally get to see her in a white dress. Amara smiled softly and told him she could not wait either. He reminded her about the fashion show the next day, telling her she had to make sure she chose the best design. His gaze deepened. He told her the price did not matter and that she should not hesitate. Amara nodded and assured him she would choose the best gown. But then her expression shifted slightly. Liwei noticed immediately. He asked what was wrong, asking if she was not feeling well. She shook her head and said she just wanted to ask for something. He told her she did not need permission and that she could simply ask. She hesitated for a moment before explaining that Momo suggested a bachelorette party and that they were thinking of a girls' getaway, asking if he could book it for them. Liwei immediately looked away, jealousy clear on his face. Amara reached up and turned his face back toward her, softly calling him babe and asking if he agreed. He told her he had heard stories about what happened at bachelorette parties, saying women invited male strippers and did all kinds of wild things. He added that whenever she was with Momo, She tended to forget she even had a man and let Momo influence her into anything. Amara laughed softly and asked if he did not trust her. He shook his head, saying he fully trusted her and knew she would never cheat. The only thing he worried about was the idea of half-naked men being in the same room as her. And knowing Momo, she might definitely add something naughty to the party. Amara crossed her fingers and promised it would not be like that. She said it would just be a quiet girls' getaway, maybe the spa, a picnic, something simple. She told him not to be so skeptical about Momo because she was not that bad. Liwei stayed silent, clearly thinking. So Amara climbed onto his lap, leaning close, her lips brushing his ear, her voice soft and intimate as she called him hubby and pleaded with him. He tried to hide his smile, tried to hide the faint blush creeping up his cheeks. Then she whispered again, teasing him, calling him her sexy daddy, promising she would be a good girl and obedient. His heart raced. Before he could think, he pulled her down onto the couch, his body pressing against hers, eyes darkening. His thumb brushed slowly across her lips and cheek, making her shiver. He leaned closer, voice low, asking if she was really going to submit and be his good girl. She nodded, touching his face, saying she wanted him to dominate her and own her in every way. He chuckled softly, realizing she was saying everything he liked just to get what she wanted. He tried to resist, but he never could resist her. Her eyes alone weakened him. Finally, he gave in and told her he would book it, and that they could choose anywhere they wanted. Her smile widened. Victorious, as she realized her plan to coax him had worked. She tried to get up, but he pinned her back down, leaning closer and telling her he was not done yet, and that she could not wake the beast inside him and expect to escape so easily. Their eyes locked, his gaze turning into that familiar hunter look, the one that always made her melt. Anticipation coursed through her. His hand slid gently to her neck as he leaned in, ready to claim her. Suddenly, a loud, excited voice echoed through the house, calling out for Amara. Both of them froze, startled. Their heads turned toward the door just as Bao Bao came rushing in, visibly excited. Amara immediately slid off Liwei's lap the moment she heard the voice. Her eyes widened. Bao Bao! She rushed toward him without hesitation and scooped him up into her arms, holding him tightly like she was afraid he might disappear. Her laughter filled the room, pure, bright, unrestrained. She squeezed his cheeks gently, telling him he had grown so big and that she had missed him very much. Bao Bao clung to her neck happily. She glanced back at Liwei and asked if he knew Bao Bao was coming. Liwei nodded calmly, telling her he had asked the butler to pick him up from the airport because he wanted to surprise her. Her heart softened instantly. She carried Bao Bao back and sat down beside Liwei, still holding him close like a child she never wanted to let go of. Liwei looked at Bao Bao and asked him if he was only excited to see Amara, and what about him. Bao Bao glanced at him briefly, then bluntly stated that he loved Amara only. Just like that. No hesitation, no mercy. Then he turned back to Amara with a bright smile and told her he wanted to show her something he had gotten for her. He grabbed her hand eagerly. The two of them walked away together, leaving Liwei behind, alone. He leaned back into the couch, arms crossed, watching them disappear down the hallway as he murmured under his breath that his wife was getting stolen right before his eyes. The following day, Kai's mother quietly made her way into Ming's clinic. The place smelled faintly of antiseptic. White walls, soft footsteps, muted voices. Her eyes scanned every hallway carefully, searching. She peeked into each room one by one, determined, pretending to look lost while actually hunting. But none of them were the right one. Just as she turned a corner, she collided into someone. Ming. He immediately recognized her. His expression brightened politely as he asked if she needed anything, wondering if she had come for a consultation. For a split second, panic flashed across her face. Then it vanished. Her composure returned smoothly. She explained that Kai had told her about May and James's daughter, that she was finally conscious. Ming nodded, confirming it. Kai's mother lowered her voice and pretended to be concerned, saying the poor girl must have been through a lot and that the worst part was her father being in jail while her mother was incapable of coming to see her. She added that she thought she should visit her, talk to her, at least be there for her. Ming studied her for a moment. Then he smiled softly. He told her she was really a good person and that he could take her to the girl's room. Maybe she would feel more comfortable talking to her. Kai's mother smiled, gentle, kind, convincing. They walked down the hallway together. Inside the room, machines beeped softly. The curtains fluttered slightly from the air conditioner. The young lady lay asleep on the bed, pale and fragile. Ming told her she could take as much time as she needed. She nodded. He walked out. The door clicked shut. The sound echoed. Silence filled the room. Slowly, her smile disappeared. Her expression changed. All warmth drained away. What remained was cold, sharp, hateful. She stepped closer to the bed, staring down at the sleeping young lady. Her eyes darkened. Her voice lowered to a whisper as she said she would never forgive her father for what he had done to her. That this girl was the fruit of cheating and adultery. She said that just looking at her face brought back every painful memory, every betrayal, every humiliation. Her hatred resurfaced violently. She muttered that the girl had to join her father in hell and that soon her mother would follow so they could reunite in the underworld together. Her hands slowly reached for a pillow. Her fingers tightened around it. She moved closer, step by step, heart steady, determined. She lifted the pillow and hovered it above the girl's face, then gently placed it over her, her hands prepared to press down, ready to end everything, forever. Suddenly, the door burst open. The loud bang shattered the silence. She froze. Liwei and Amara stepped in, their eyes immediately landing on her. Kai's mother froze for only a split second when the door burst open. Then her face changed instantly. Calm, harmless. She quickly adjusted the pillow as if she had only been fixing it, smoothing it gently before turning toward Amara and Liwei, who stood at the doorway with Bao Bao. A forced smile stretched across her lips. She said she had just come to check on the girl since her parents were not around to do that. She added that she had already been there for a long time and would give them some space. Before anyone could question her further, she walked out. Too fast. Too eager. Liwei's eyes followed her the entire time. Sharp. Calculating. He noticed the slight tremble in her hands, the stiffness in her steps. Something wasn't right. Behind them, a soft cough broke the silence. May and James's daughter slowly opened her eyes. Bao Bao noticed immediately. His face lit up. He rushed toward her without hesitation and threw himself into her arms. She hugged him tightly, like she would never let go. Tears streamed down her face. Relief, gratitude, pain, all at once. The room felt heavy with emotion as brother and sister reunited. Liwei and Amara watched quietly. Then they stepped closer. Amara gently asked her how she was feeling, but the girl only stared, silent, her eyes drifting between Amara, then Liwei, like she was trying to piece things together. Liwei spoke calmly, introducing himself. He glanced at Amara before telling her that Amara was his wife and that Bao Bao had been living with them after what happened to her family. He stepped closer, his gaze scanning her carefully, asking if she remembered what happened exactly before she lost consciousness. Still nothing. Just silence. Before he could press further, Amara gently grabbed his hand and told him they should give her time, reminding him she had just woken up and it would take time to adjust. Liwei studied the girl for a moment longer, then nodded. He told Amara he needed to see Ming and that she should stay and talk to her. Amara smiled and nodded. Liwei left the room. Outside, Kai's mother was about to open her car door when suddenly it slammed shut. She startled. Liwei stood in front of her, close, blocking her path. His eyes were dark, sharp, unreadable. He calmly told her she knew she could get locked up for life for what she had just tried to do. She widened her eyes, pretending to be shocked, asking what he was talking about. Liwei laughed softly, but there was no warmth in it. He leaned closer, voice firm, telling her not to ever try what she had just tried again, and that next time he would not let her off easily. She laughed mockingly and asked him why he suddenly cared about May and James's daughter, reminding him that May was his enemy and had plotted to get him and his woman killed. She shook her head, saying this was not the Liwei she knew, the man who crushed enemies without emotional attachment. Liwei did not react, not even slightly. He told her he cared about his friend Ming and his wife Amara, and that they had worked too hard to save that girl. He simply did not want their efforts to go to waste. Then he stepped closer enough that she felt the pressure of his presence. He told her one more thing. The girl was the final chess piece to completely destroy May and James, and he would not allow anyone to touch or move his chess piece. His voice was quiet, but deadly. He told her never to step foot in his friend's clinic again. Then he walked away, leaving her standing there, fists clenched, trembling with rage. Her plan had failed. She got into her car and sped off. Amara sat in the dressing room preparing for the fashion show. Warm lights glowed around the mirror, soft brushes, the faint scent of powder. One of the maids carefully helped with her makeup and clothes. Amara felt awkward, out of place. She looked at the maid and said she could do all of this herself, and that there was really no need for so much trouble. The maid smiled politely and told her it was her job. She had been hired for this, and the young master had instructed her to take care of her. They had to. Amara hesitated. She admitted she was not used to it. The maid smiled gently and told her she would get used to it, reminding her that she was now the missus of the house, and these were things she needed to adjust to. Amara finally nodded with a small smile and let her continue. After finishing, the maid stepped outside. Right at the entrance, she bumped into another maid. They both stepped aside into the corner and started whispering. They gossiped about how Amara seemed like a rural girl, how she clearly was not used to luxury. They wondered why Liwei would marry someone like her when there were so many beautiful, rich Chinese girls he could have chosen. They laughed, giggled, mocked her, saying she did not suit him at all. Still laughing, they turned and froze. Liwei stood there, silent, watching, his dark, sharp eyes locked onto them. The air instantly turned cold. Their laughter died in their throats. Their bodies trembled under his presence.